A little bit small introduction. But you deserve an introduction nonetheless.
Let's go, man. Stop being scared, man. Come on, man. We're doing live, bro.
Hello, people. How you guys doing?
All right. You saved it.
Welcome to Kingdom City Church. My name is Doug Core. I am the minister of music here. And I just want to talk a little bit about what it is we're trying to do here. You may be wondering, why are we holding a seminar like this in a church? I always started off like this because I need people to know that the church is meant to help people. That's our only job. We can call it saving souls or saving lives. But too much now, we find that church has been in the business of judging instead of helping. See, I learned that the only people who can judge is the one who's above us, because we're all human and we've all done things, or however people may look at us. No one can judge you but God, right? And so we decided to open up our doors to something that is a little bit controversial to some people, but that's only because society has made it so. It used to be that you couldn't worship. That was against the law. I don't know if you guys know that. It used to be that you couldn't be a Christian. That was against the law at some point. Right now, what's against the law is medical marijuana in many states. Georgia has lifted a lot of the regulations, and we're happy for that. But more probably needs to be done, and we have a lot more people, a lot smarter and more versed in this subject than me to tell you about it. But I'm just here to tell you that these doors are open to a subject like this because we want to help the community. We love y'all.
I respect that.
Okay? And that's why So, I'm off the soapbox. I'm not here just to advertise for Kingdom City Church, although we are open tomorrow, 11:30. Come through. Worship with your boy. But I'm going to bring up some people who know what they're talking about. And I think that can really help us in this community, you individually who are here, who are looking for help, looking for answers. Get your notebooks ready, get your pens out. We're going to learn today. And I'm very proud to present our first speaker, who is David Calloway, certified cannabis personal trainer. And we're going to actually find out what that means. Please tell us, David.
Yes, David.
Thank you for having me. I'm David Calloway, certified cannabis personal trainer. My job is to really explain how cannabis and fitness kind of go hand in hand, how they kind of tie in together. So what I'm going to be talking briefly about for a minute is about the endocannabinoid system. The endocannabinoid system is a group of cannabis receptors that bring about the let me slow it down.
Take your time, King.
The endocannabinoid system is a group of cannabis receptors within the human brain and nervous system, right? It says these receptors bring about the psychoactive change and effect of these receptors bring about the psychoactive effect of cannabis, but also involved with like appetite, mood, pain sensation, and also involuntary exercise like that runner's high feeling that we get. So the endocannabinoid system again, we get that going by exercising. That runner high feeling that we get, we always thought were endorphins. It's really like our body's natural activations of the endocannabinoid system. A lot of people tie like you smoking and cannabis and all that, it makes you lazy, but really it don't. But if you got like a good concentrate, some good weed, good plant, good flower, whatever the case may be, it also can like work in your favor. It can also be very energizing and so forth. Depression, like a lot of people suffer from depression, but exercise, studies have shown that people who exercise also,
This is good. Take your time, King.
It's all right.
Take your time,
It's
King.
all right.
Take your time. You're going to be a G at this soon enough. Come on. Take your time, man.
people who exercise have less depression and anxiety, and they suffer from all different sorts of kind of stuff. But the endocannabinoid system deficiency manifests off that. Also, it helps with, it's also an anti-inflammatory. The cannabis is well known for its anti-inflammatory properties. Studies have found that the herb, two main active ingredients, psychoactive THC, the non-psychoactive CBD, have
Take your time, King.
we with you, information about,
We with you, man. Great
it's
information.
also, damn, true. It's also very helpful for like people with asthma and all that kind of good stuff. Let me see. I'm sorry.
How does it help asthma?
It's because it's a bronchodilator. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right.
Bronchodilator, yes,
Yeah,
sir.
bronchodilator. Also
Good
helps
stuff.
with all that kind of good stuff.
Good stuff.
So, bronchodilator.
Uh-huh.
The cannabis itself is a bronchodilator.
Yeah.
What about smoking it? Doesn't that?
Nah, there's been no study of smoking marijuana causes lung cancer. It's actually like the blunt wraps, the backwoods, the rellos and all that. That's what it really has, like nicotine and all that. And, you know,
Oh,
if
okay.
you're smoking the clean, like pipe, bong, whatever have you, you know what I'm saying? Then it don't really have no benefits on your actual lungs, like
Okay.
causing cancer and all that.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
That's it.
Yeah.
You
Where can
sure?
we find you?
You sure?
You can
What
also
do you
find me on
do?
Instagram at Charged Up Performance Training. I'm mobile. I'm an in-home personal trainer. I come to you, have sessions over there, workout plans, whatever the case may be. I also just help raise more awareness about the plant and fitness. Kind of caught me on the spot right today, so kind of a little nervous.
You did a great work. Great
Appreciate
job.
it. Thank you so much for your time.
That's it. That was awesome. You gotta have reps.
I got
You gotta get reps.
Outstanding.
You gotta get the information. We got it.
David Calloway, personal trainer,
Certified cannabis person.
certified cannabis personal
We went to
trainer.
school to study it, so.
That's good. Thank you for that, sir. Thank you for that. I know you're a little bit nervous up here. There's nothing to be nervous about. It's just among friends, man.
That's right.
That's what we do. You guys got something from that, right?
Yes.
Got a little something, understanding? I know I did. Okay, so I think who we wanted to go for next may not be here, so we're going to go with
Let me hit up Dr. Go ahead.
Dr. Rashawn Hodge. Dr. Rashawn Hodge. I'm sorry, I've been not mispronouncing your name for, what, 6 months now?
It's all good.
Once again, people, listen, this man, this awesome man right here, has a family practice. He's a family practice physician in Atlanta, and he has helped my family personally in ways that I can't even go into right now. But
Really?
we'll say he has, in giving my daughter the access to the card to get the medicine that she needed, that
help.
is helping her immensely. She has not had any more problems. I haven't seen any more problems.
Vertigo, passing out.
No more
syncopate.
vertigo, no more passing out. She had some heart troubles. They found out she had a heart murmur, which a lot of people have. It doesn't mean you have to have a medicine for it. That's not natural. She has had no more problems. Zero. This is 4 weeks now, an entire month. Zero problems. So when I say that this man has helped me, I mean that with all my heart, and I know that when I invite him up here, I'm doing the right thing by this community, and so that's why we invited Dr. Hodge.
Thank you for that awesome introduction, man. That's the truth,
Facts.
facts, and that's what I hear day in, day out in my practice. I've been involved with medicinal cannabis since 2015, since the state legalized our law. You know, we have a medicinal cannabis. We're an oil-only state, and that was named after a young girl named Haley, who was having 400 seizures a day. And like a lot of Georgians that become medical marijuana refugees, we have to go to other states to break up our families, break up our homes, leave your jobs, just for vitality, just to stay alive, because we didn't have this law in place in Georgia. But since the inception of Haley's Hope, which is since 2015, and a little backstory, her seizures dropped from 400 seizures a day to 2 or 3 a day. And she outlived further than most of all my constituents saying, you know, your seizures are so bad you won't live past 2 or 3 years of age. She died last summer, but she lived way further and had way more quality of life, not quantity, but quality of life than what the pharmaceuticals would have offered her.
Amen.
So here we are, and let me talk about current legislation now. We now have 3 bills for in-state cultivation of medical marijuana right now. We are a part-time legislative state. Legislation ends May 22nd. So you have to talk to your House of Representatives and your state Senate members that live in your areas and say, man, what's up with these 3 bills? We have a House Bill 645, we have House Resolution 36, and we have a Senate bill. One bill is going to create a relationship with the colleges and universities here in Georgia. They will have first right of refusal to have a cultivation license and a dispensary license. So there's UGA. Fort Valley is a black school in Georgia that has an agricultural license. It's up to us to get them involved so they can be part of this cultivation process. Okay? We don't want to get left out. Blacks are less than 1% of this billion-dollar movement. Yeah. And the rest is not just Georgia, it's not just New York. The average is 9-to-1 arrests, black users versus white users, when we all use at the same rate and same time. But we're arrested 9 times. So we're getting felonies. Our lives are ruined by this cannabis, by this plant. Okay? So those are 3 bills that are currently happening. Just a little inside. Nathan Deal, which is our governor, you know, this is his last 6 months of governorship for Georgia. Now, Georgia's governor, they're the second most powerful governor in the country. That's how much power the governor of Georgia has, and he's absolutely against it. But the compromise with these 3 bills is like he said, you know what we'll do? We'll add PTSD and chronic pain to the list of eligibility. So now we have 15 diseases that make you eligible to have to take medicinal cannabis. Or you can become a caretaker. So you gotta understand, you don't have to have the disease. You can have a loved one that has the disease and you can get a caretaker card too. Now, the caretaker or patient card will allow you to carry 20 ounces of low THC oil. And that's, you gotta see a doctor like myself to get that recommendation. The card's good for 2 years. And it's a reciprocity card too, so you can go to other states and use their medicinal cannabis, laws. So, any questions before I keep rolling? I got a million of these, man. I'm like Jay-Z, man. I got a million hits, man. Any questions? Sir?
Yeah, you were saying with the law going back a little bit about UGA, what was the bill?
That was, that's House Bill 645, and that's to start relationship with the colleges and universities here in Georgia. They'll get first right of refusal for a dispensary license and a cultivation license.
So is that, can I say?
And there'll be a total of 10. That bill outlines a total of 10 dispensaries.
In Georgia?
Yeah, and Georgia's population is roughly under 12 million. So that's, the universities and colleges have the first right of refusal for the CL, let's say CL is abbreviated because for a CL and a DL.
Okay, so they got the first right to pick if they want to take it.
If they want to partake, and you know what, but that behooves Georgia. We'll get, instead of going to Cal, instead of going to Georgia Tech, we'll get better quality students. It's awesome that the colleges can attract, that we have a cultivation program. Yeah, that would be great. We'll get the nation's biggest talent, Yeah, so that's awesome for a state. Questions, sir?
What was the number to the Senate bill?
The Senate bill is fleeting, but the Senate bill is it's an overall decriminalization, statewide decriminalization, and in-state cultivation.
No, just the number. I know House Bill 645.
Someone can just Google that thing. So it's House Resolution 36, House Bill 645, and there's a Senate bill. I just forgot real fast, but we can Google that real fast.
Okay.
So that's where we're at right now. And Nathan Deal is like, man, when he got into office 7 years ago, he said this state will never grow. And he is our commander. But power is to the people, right?
Yeah.
So what I encourage you is if you know someone that's hurting, someone that is applicable for medicinal cannabis, get them to a physician that certifies patients, because if we show a more demand, a more need for in-state, a more need for access.
Yeah.
So I'm a card holder too, and I'll tell you my story in a minute. But I'm a card holder. I broke my neck in 2012. I ran into a guy's chest playing basketball. I got fused. These are plates and screws that came out of my neck. I had to take these plates and screws out, and I lost my C3, 4, and 5, and I had a big cage. That's to keep my head on. So even to speak in front of you today, cannabis is in me. It's my glue, it's my life, you know. I mean, I'm a member and also an advocate, you know, for the state. I've been on everything that I used to write and prescribe. I had to take it, and I wasn't willingly wanting to take a lot of those benzos and a lot of those opioids because of the obvious side effects. You know, as I stand in front of you, every 19 minutes, an American is dying. What's up, boss? Yeah, we losing American life to opioids. And 40% of those people that die, they're behind a prescription. And the other 60% is, you guys you hearing the fentanyl?
Yeah.
You hear about fentanyl, right?
A little bit.
And fentanyl and heroin is the other 60% of death. So that's 21 Americans that are dying daily in this country behind opioids. And the evidence with medical cannabis, medicinal cannabis, deaths are reduced. You know, that's the latest studies. They're trying to debunk that, but you can't erase what the data. Data is data. There's less death, less opioid overdoses in states that have a strong medicinal cannabis program. So back to what I'm saying is, if someone that you know, you can be a caretaker or you can be a patient, let's sign people up to get their card. So the House of Representatives and the Senate, there's no choice. Right now, we have under 3,600 people sign up in this state. And again, there's under 12 million Georgians. So yeah, we're saying we want to grow, but where's the proof? And my man's over here with Peachtree Normal. He doesn't have a car. He's still a criminal, right? So they pull you over, and you have every symptom that of course you need the medicinal cannabis, but because you don't have a car, you can be thrown in jail, right? So it's not just about getting people to get their cars, but let's flood the system. Everyone bring like 10 people to me, you know. No, everyone in this that's came, I'll do it for free. I'll waive my.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll do it for free, and I charge usually $150 for that.
Wow.
I'll do it for free. Everyone's here, I'll do it for free if you qualify or you need a caretaker card. This is so important to me because I want access, you know. Until there's dispensaries on every corner, like there's a Starbucks, or like a McDonald's, or like there's a Waffle House. I'm going to Texaco, I'm going here, I'm meeting people, I'm risking my life for my medicine. And I'm not just risking my life for my medicine, there's no lab testing. So there's people cutting corners. This is a $1 billion industry where everyone's trying to profit and they're cutting corners. And box cutter, Oren can talk about corners being cut, pesticides, chemicals, stuff made not using gloves, you know, stuff made sitting on the board with sickle cell. And, you know, that's the #1 blood disease in the world. And those kids are on opioids at 4 months of age. Sometimes they're on methadone, they're on morphine. Okay? Any other questions, concerns? What's up, King? Whatever you go. Any questions?
The baby boomers.
Baby
And the
boomers.
elders. What's the
Well,
situation?
the evidence is, it's the facts are the facts. Baby boomers are the fastest growing population of cannabis users. There they are. They're on 16, 18 pills and they're sick and tired of being sick and tired. You know, they're on something for their diabetes, right? Now they have that diabetes, that sugar gets into your nerves and that causes terrible diabetic neuropathy. So you're taking Neurontin, gabapentin, you guys know these drugs, right? Now they're on 3 pills, and now they're so sick and tired of being sick and tired, they're obviously depressed. You know, when you have chronic pain, depression comes with it. I know, you miss your old life so bad. You miss your life. You're you know, stressing about the past and what you used to do, what you be able to live, and how manly or female you were. Yo, it attacks your ego, it attacks your soul. I've been through it. Question?
Does that cannabis, do we have studies or does blood pressure, high blood pressure fall in the line
The question is, does hypertension make you eligible for medicinal cannabis in this state? When you see a doctor like myself, hypertension isn't on the list, but you know there's a disease called mitochondrial disease. So hypertension, high blood pressure, can affect cells. So yeah, I would qualify you. You can't trump the doctor, man. I'm one that went to med school. They write the law. So you know, if you want to do this, go to college, do your 4 years of med school, go to residency, and then talk to me how to treat Georgia. Other than that, you write law, let me do what I do. So yeah, I would definitely recommend, you know, make a recommendation for anyone with hypertension. You know, heart disease is still number one. And to go back to the opioids and why we need cannabis here, you know, when I was growing up, I'm 43 now, the number one killer under the age of 50 was what? Under the age of 40 was what? Car accidents, gun violence.
Yeah.
Now, what's the number one killer under the age of 49?
Cancer.
Opioid
Opioids.
overdose is now the number one killer. And
Wow.
it crept up like that. Y'all don't know. Y'all sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all sleeping. You know, when I talk about deaths of opioids, the 60% of deaths is what? Fentanyl. Fentanyl. You know what fentanyl is? That's 50 to 100 times more stronger than morphine.
Wow.
It's 30 to 50 more potent than heroin.
Mm.
And they're putting that in pills because there's no access to the opioids, right? And patches. Yeah, there's patches. Yeah, that's the pharmaceutical companies, but the cartel, they're pumping it. And with the legalization and with our state, 32 states turning, we have 8 states that are recreational. New York and New Jersey can go this year. Florida said by 2020 will be recreational. And if Jeff Sessions loses, the whole game has changed anyway, because now marijuana, cannabis, will be not a Schedule 1 drug, which means it is as bad as crack and heroin. It'll be a Schedule 3 or declassified. Now the feds can get it. They'll make their money. And that can happen any second now. Because we have Canada, Canada's a big country, right? Let's talk I got small business guys in here. I see some small business guys in here. You got Canada, right? They're supposed to be recreational by 4th of July. Now that date might get pushed back by their prime minister, but that's already in effect. Mexico was beneath us, right? The whole country might go. So that poises Canada to be the biggest power of, I mean, this is $1 billion thing. We don't want Canada having the best space technology, the best army. That's what's going to happen. So just the business of the United States being a power, we have to do something quick. So that's why I think, you know, us talking, I think something's going to happen pretty quick. You know, because, you know, we can't fall behind. You know, we're like now the 7th most powerful country in the world, when we used to be like number 3. You know, and that's what cannabis does for us. You know, it brings so much money. We can have robots on top of robots, you know, like doing it. You know, it just keeps us as a power because it generates so much money. It feeds the economy. We can have the best of the best and be protected. That's just a quick spin up. Any other questions before I keep going up? Because I'll just go on tangents. Hey, how y'all doing? Just so you know, I'll catch you up with Doc Hodge. I'm one of the docs that make the recommendations for medicinal cannabis in the state. If there's a patient card, there's a caretaker card, allows you to carry 20 ounces of the oil, and we all know the studies, man, this is preventing all these diseases, it's preventing death. If everybody's worried about dementia, it's gonna stop dementia. CBD, the non-psychoactive part of cannabis, you know, and THC. We all know about CBD and THC there, right? Does anybody know what that is, or any questions that go into it?
We know it, but you can explain it for the people online.
Okay. CBD is the non-psychoactive part of cannabis, and you're starting to see it at vitamin shop, you're seeing it at Whole Foods, you're seeing it everywhere, right? CBD is 20 times stronger as an anti-inflammatory than Motrin, ibuprofen, Midol, Goody powder. Now, Midol, Motrin, Goody powder, that's the number 16 killer in this country. And that's over the counter. You know, that will cause ulcers, leaky gut, eventually death, chronic illness. And that stuff they sell over the counter. Tylenol gets sued every day.
Yep.
They lose a class action suit like every other day, you know? And you got CBD, which is 20 times stronger. And since the very inception of time, because this plant is just as old as mankind, like DC, my certified personal cannabis trainer alluded to, the endocannabinoid system, that's how the breast milk comes out, So that's since the beginning of time. And thank you for illustrating that, DC. Great job. So, but there's 300 other endocannabinoids or cannabinoids inside cannabis, but since it was outlawed in 1940, all we know is 2.
Wow.
But there's 300 other components, man. Name another one. Name one. There's THCV, there's THCA, there's CBN, there's CBG, stuff for bone remodeling, but it's so poorly studied. Y'all gotta do your research, man. This plant is for every condition necessary for us to thrive, and overall wellness. And I'm not just saying from what I've studied, I use it in my life. As they know, I broke my neck in 2012. It took me 8 months to get off some of the big pharma's medications, which I knew it was going to take me a while to get off, but I didn't understand physical dependence. Not addiction. Physical dependence and addiction are totally different. And most people that take some of these, when you're in chronic pain, opioids or benzos for anxiety, that after the 3rd dose, your body builds up a tolerance and you will become physically dependent on it. And that's what happens. And it's not really a word because medical cannabis can help with addiction. It can help with physical dependence. It helps with those symptoms. It can help you don't have seizures. So you know what? When you're getting off these drugs or you're withdrawing, you're not going to worry about a seizure. When you have a seizure, what happens, man? That organ doesn't get any oxygen. And when the tissue doesn't get oxygen, it dies. It's irreversible. That's why a heart attack is irreversible. Irreversible damage, that tissue becomes necrotic. Questions? Come on, man. Throw them at me. You gotta have some questions or concerns. I'm gonna get out of here. You're gonna miss it, man. What's up, man?
Now, why does cannabis help out with overall pain? Is it the nervous system, the reactors inside the nervous system that actually does the healing, or what is it, the details?
How does cannabis help pain? Okay, I just told you about CBD, right? CBD. Pain is an inflammation problem, right? It's a signal that comes from I think it's your thalamus, right? And whatever receptor that's feeling the pain is going to come back to your brain like I'm in pain. So you have receptors in your brain, and these receptors that hold cannabis, they're not by the centers that control breathing and your heart rate like heroin and cocaine. They're centered, when they cross the blood-brain barrier, there's spots in your brain where it crosses, it'll sit right next to something that controls your breathing. So when you take too much of it, what happens? Your breathing stops. This cannabis centers, and just to simplify it, just to make it simple, the receptors in your brain, they're not located where something can kill you, not by lethal spots. There's no lethal areas in your brain where cannabis can oversaturate and cause respiratory arrest or cardiovascular, arrest, a heart attack, or you stop breathing or a coma. It's impossible. I mean, there's a study, you got to smoke soap, such and such, how many tons of weed to die, And I don't know whoever calculated that, because it's impossible. So we know there's 0 deaths associated with cannabis, but how does it help pain? Yeah, THC helps pain too, so there's a great balance. If you have a lot of pain, you need CBD and you need some of the THC. Now that's the psychoactive component of cannabis, which the government tries to give it a big name. It's called it a high, but when they give you medications like benzos or opiates, they don't say you're going to get high from it, right? So I just tell my patients, yeah, you will feel medicated, So there's a synergistic effect with CBD and THC that helps with pain, inflammation, cortisol. Cortisol is the killer of man and woman. That's a stressful hormone that causes cancer. So when you're in pain, your body releases cortisol. So what cannabis is doing is saying, cortisol, get back in there. Because cortisol causes diabetes, hypertension, cancer, lupus, fibromyalgia. It's the destruction of man.
If you already have diabetes,
right?
You're in constant pain, right, of nerve pain,
Diabetic neuropathy.
Diabetic neuropathy. Just taking the medicine, and I'm asking this for a friend, is just taking the medicine, keeping those keeping that cortisol away, is that also helping your diabetes? Because you're reversing it.
The way we know you're diabetic is a blood test, a hemoglobin A1C. Now, it's lowering your hemoglobin A1C, making you from diabetic to pre-diabetic levels just being on cannabis. Yes. Yes. You look at the studies of chronic smokers, chronic cannabis smokers. We're thinner, you know. Chronic smokers have a lower BMI. We have lower adipose tissue. I know. And you look at chronic smokers, you're like, man, that dude is skinny, and I thought it gives you munchies. I thought it does that. No. Initially, that's one of the side effects of cannabis when you first start taking it. But once you're not a rookie and a freshman no more, you understand, like, look, man, instead of eating the crap, I'm going to grab more of my water, I'm going to grab my fruits, I'm going to grab my vegetables. Because once you choose nature, once you choose something that's natural, that grows from the earth, you're going to want to start taking better care of yourself because you're not sipping that Kool-Aid anymore. I mean, unless you're just stupid, you know?
Right.
No, I ain't dumb or nor stupid. Question.
So
it does, and you go back to it, so it's going to help you just overall, and you're going to start making better decisions. And again, you're going to, that diabetic neuropathy is real, with your blood sugar being out of control. That sugar actually gets into your nerves, and it stays there. That's called sorbitol. It deposits into your nerves. So those people, diabetics that are poorly uncontrolled, their feet feel like they're burning 24/7. Now, there's cannabis, taking it can relieve the pain. I mean, and you don't have to just smoke it. You can inhale it, you can vape it, and I'll tell you all the different ways. There's creams, there's suppositories, there's patches, there's drinks, there's capsules, there's pills, there's everything. You just don't, I'm not saying smoke it. I'm telling you to smoke it if you live in the city of Atlanta and the city of Clarkston, that you're protected, because there's no access right now. That's why we're pushing so hard for decriminalization in Georgia, because until we have access, again, until we have dispensaries like you see Starbucks and Whole Foods, the whole state of Georgia has to be decriminalized. That's our fight, and you guys can win that. That's just talking to your that's talking to I'm trying to think of the exact word we need to talk to. Commissioners of the counties.
Okay.
Or the city. That's usually a member of 4 or 5 people. So they have the power to decriminalize, and I'm talking decriminalize under 1 ounce of cannabis is non-arrestable. So you guys can say, hey man, we're still getting locked up in Fayette County or Tyrone or here, just how I did, and that's what's going to happen. And look at Alabama. Alabama is going to try to decriminalize, and that's one of the harshest states. Their penalty would be under 1 ounce, would be $250. The city of Atlanta, if you caught with 1 ounce, it's $75 fine, and no one's getting arrested in the city of Atlanta and the city of Clarkston under 1 ounce. You would have heard about it. So that's your fight too. If you live in a city that's not decriminalized, y'all got work to do, and they'll listen. Because that's us, the rest are 9 to 1 in this state. When users, black and white users, we all use the same amount. What's up, big Y'all gotta get him up here, man. That's a true pioneer. It's a true pioneer salute, bro. At DGS Botanicals, man. I see you, big bro. So if anyone needs any CBD, he's got a great CBD product, that can help. Okay, diabetes, I answered that. Question, what's up, bro?
What's going on, bro?
Him Doc is another pioneer, man. Merch and advocate. Thank you for supporting.
A couple weeks ago, you were talking to some of the elected officials.
Yes, I do.
What was the outcome? I know you just put a clip up.
Yeah, I had the pleasure speaking in front of y'all. This is always, I'm always humbled, and this is a pleasure of mine. But I did get to speak in front of the House, in front of the Senate, about medicinal cannabis. Again, Nathan Deal, our governor, is really fighting back on those 3 bills. So his compromise was to add PTSD, and chronic pain. So, because PTSD is a subjective disease. There's no test for it. There's no MRI, there's no CAT scan. So physicians like myself got to take your word for it. So that can potentially be that could be 10 million people signing up for a card. Because everybody black has been through something, So we all qualify.
I'm going to talk about that too.
We all qualify, right? It's not just the veterans, it's post-traumatic stress disorder, just so you guys understand. It's any event, like if you were in a car accident and you were making a left-hand turn and you got T-boned, driver's side, you had a seatbelt, you survived it. Every time you think of making a left-hand turn, you're gonna think about it, right? If it lasts more than 6 months of thinking about it, it goes from an adjustment disorder, that's the first 6 months of thinking about it, If it lasts more than 6 months, by definition, you now have post-traumatic stress disorder. So it's not just the vets, it's anyone surviving any abuse, anyone getting it from the mud, man.
Yeah.
You got some PTSD, So that's what it is. And that can be inclusive of all of Georgia. So that's the green light to me, because you know what? I can sign up everybody now. And now we have all this need and we don't have access, so they gotta let us grow.
Right.
So I'm thinking next session, we'll pass these bills. This session, that's my own personal opinion. Outside of federal law change, outside of Jeff Sessions getting sued and cannabis gets declassified. And that's just a business decision, that's you and I talking, That's the United States business decision. And now the feds will take over. Now the feds, what they're gonna want is data. So they're gonna want data from you, hemp dot, they're gonna want data from me, burn one, they're gonna want data from you. Cause they're gonna want to take over, they want direct marketing. So these are ways we can all capitalize, make it, Questions? Get me on the stage?
No, as long as you want to stay.
As long as you need to hear, that's the information I want to get, I'm one of the guys, man. It's not like, you meet a lot of people that are trying to get in this industry, man. They're kind of like tongue-in-cheek with it, and that's just the worst thing to do, because again, we are less than 1% of a $50 billion market, and this is going higher, And you can't say, I got mine, you try to go get yours, man. We all got to kind of galvanize and work together if you want to get in this. And whatever you're doing, whatever field you're doing, there's a field in cannabis, I call it the green space, that you'll be just as happy and make 4 or 5 times more. If you're a driver, go on Indeed.com, INDEED.com. I don't know about that monster crap, but if you're looking for a job, people use Indeed. They search the app Indeed. Now just type in cannabis drivers. It's gonna blow your mind. Just type in cannabis security. That security guard was making 20, 30, now he's making 80, 90 grand a year. The fastest growing millionaires are cannabis accountants. Because we're a board of millionaires, me and 15 others, right? Not me, I ain't a millionaire, but 15 others. We put 20 million into this dispensary, or we put another 10 million in this cultivation center, or this transportation, or this security company. We don't want our P&Ls once a year. I want it every month. So that accountant's got to count it up every month. And they making jack, bro. Making so much bread. And they're just accountants. So security guards are making so much money. Drivers, 50, 60, 70 grand are going back and forth on highways every other hour. It's just two guys in the back and a bag in the middle. And that's it. No armored cars, no nothing. Right?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, so, and something we got to teach our kids, because again, if we don't tell our kids about this, we will only be managers in this space. We'll never be owners, because there's 15 universities now that have accredited programs. Law schools have programs now. There's undergraduate programs with cannabis classes. So, yeah, they're going to take it, and they will be the owners. Because somebody in our family, and it's not our fault, it's not black or brown people's fault. It's just because of the ratio of arrest, the disparity, someone in our family got banged up with cannabis. So it was a bad word. I couldn't even burn incense in my house. My mom, like, man, you on that dope with you? I'm like, man, it's an innocent, everybody doing it, mom. You know, and I'm not even telling jokes. It's just, when someone gets banged up, it's a bad word. You know, and now, we got a whole generation of people missing the boat because we're scared to talk about cannabis at the dinner table. They say, you know what, don't feed that machine and go to college. You need to learn hydroponics. You need to learn how to fix this equipment. You know, that's because the person that fixed the equipment, yeah, you're a millionaire, you know? And you don't need a college degree. And we all know the three biggest sectors that's happening is that blockchain, big cryptocurrency, veganism, and cannabis. That's it. The rest is robots. You know, when Amazon, I'm not preaching to you, but if Amazon comes here, they're not going to hire 400,000 in Georgia. They're going to hire maybe 700. The rest is going to be robots. I mean, it's the robotic age, you know? So if you don't hop in those sectors, your kids are going to be struggling. And we don't scratch the surface of generational wealth, you know? Again, more generational poverty, more of us in jail because there ain't no other thing for us to do, you know? So it's bigger than just health is what I talk about, but understanding the economics behind this is so important because now we have a chance. Because right now you don't have to go to college. You can go online and get certified. You know, there's plenty of courses. I took the Cannabis Training University, CTU.com. It's 200, how much was it? $200, $300? Yeah, $300. So before the feds change stuff, everyone gets certified. That makes you a certified cannabis expert. You get a real diploma, man. It's $300. And nobody can tell you anything about it because the textbooks they're not textbooks, there's no library. Because it was illegal, you just gotta keep up with a few studies and it makes you an expert. So like, you're not even that far behind. I'm not trying to tell you, learn physics, learn nuclear, you know, this Elon Musk stuff, no. Because it was illegal, you're just as smart as everybody else from a course.
Wow.
Yeah. The textbooks are just thin. I'm not talking Israel, I'm talking United States. They're just thin, and that'll make you an expert. You know, a year or two from now, they're gonna make you go to school, man. What you talking about, man? Where's your degree? You know?
Mm-hmm.
You dig?
Got you.
Yeah, so you gotta get in it, because Georgia is gonna turn. Not this session, next session will happen. You know, we got some great events, a lot of pressure. We host the Super Bowl in 344 days.
Wow.
We host Super Bowl. We host after that the Final Four. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So companies like Hemp Dot, they gotta get busy. Silverback Nation, they gotta get busy. That's all their brand. They gotta build their brands up. So when Cali and Jay-Z and all the industry guys come in the land and kick it, we throwing them merch. Wow, you're exploding. You dig?
Gotcha.
Y'all gotta get on your game, man. You should have a ticker, 344 days, but you gotta see further. You know, I can't help you see further. I'm just trying to tell you, man, see further than most people. I mean, we brothers, we black, man. We know how to do that. We know how to move, but just see further. And you can build your brand, you know, it could be edibles, it could be a lot of things, because if it's not in the law, it's not against the law. If it's not written, it's not against the law. So, let me peep a little game to you. So say he's a caretaker, I gave him a caretaker card, right? That's 20 ounces of oil. Now, how much food can you cook with 20 ounces of oil? You can cater like 50 people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, what if everyone had cards that came to you? Nobody can tell you this. No one, nothing. And you're building your brand, you're making money, and that's what you can do. That's just a little game, right? And you can't get arrested from that. You did?
Yeah.
You do something in the city of Clarkston, city of Lane, you just gotta learn how to move, be smart. You don't gotta be that Athens 60, Cartersville 60, whatever. You don't do that stuff in cities that are not protecting you. but there's ways to build your brand for these huge events that are coming to Georgia. So when these people come, you know, you passing out, boom, you hitting the whole country and international. They're all gonna be here. Europe, everyone's gonna be here for this game. Atlanta's popping. They want to see that big Mercedes-Benz dome, man. They want to see what $1 billion do, you know? So that stuff y'all should be getting excited about. You don't gotta travel. It's like, ooh, like this church could be booming. Yeah. Get you lots of, anyway. I get it. Before I get sidetracked.
That's it.
I love economics, man. I'm a great doctor. I'm a, you know, humbly, but I'm a better businessman. You know, I'm a better businessman than I'm a physician. Hands down. So that's it. Man. Any other questions or concerns before I go? Nothing, man. Y'all should be ready to go, man. Y'all should be ready to haul ass. Get out of here, just.
How can we, well, I know these are my brothers here, how can we become a closer part to your circle, you know, and learn about business ideas, all these
Man, I'm an open book. I'm very transparent, and everyone knows me here. I'm pretty solid, man. If I know something, I'll put it on social media. I'm never trying to hide things. When I see a bill, I'm gonna bring it to us. You dig? You know, but it comes with lots of risk. You know, lots of risk. You know what's happening to pro-cannabis doctors, and they're disappearing, they're dying. You know, you're going against big pharma. Big pharma is $1 billion play, and you're going against the top 1%. And when if someone black gets into this is that's nepotism. You know, once you get a part of a dispensary, a part of this cultivation license, that land ain't going nowhere. So they're saying in that state there's only going to be 10 of them, and that means your kids, and the dog, blah, blah, blah. Nepotism. And African Americans don't have nepotism. We get our, they should know what we can do with that. We make generate billions.
Change the world.
Man.
Change the West.
He said it, not me. Y'all get him, not me, man. I got people to help.
That's it.
Well, besides the fact that, you know, my pastor's going to fire me because you almost cursed up here like
I saw it. I don't wear the
at the
towel.
altar. More importantly, no, that's a joke, because more importantly, you're saving lives.
That's right.
I don't care if you're a Muslim, if you're Hindu, if you're atheist. This church is open today for you, because the one thing that I believe in is that Jesus was here to help.
Pioneer over here, bro.
The
He's a
least,
soldier, man.
the least of these. Those of you who need help but can't get it, and they're feeding you death, I'm against it. That's why I'm here. This thing is in my face, but that's why I'm here. That's why it matters to me. This isn't a joke. This isn't something that we do to say I'm a pioneer, the first church to do this. That doesn't matter. Everything that we're about here is helping people. And I want you to know that. That's why it matters to me to have a doctor with his credentials, to have physical therapists with credentials like David, to have people who come in next month, like Felicia Dawson, Dr. Felicia Dawson, another cannabis physical expert. We have Big Zach coming next month, Dr. Little, chiropractor. Big Zach is a local Green Atlanta founder who's gonna teach us how to eat properly. Greens, all fresh food. If you have diabetes, you have foodborne illnesses, he can show you how to eat better, how to save your own life without taking the medicine, and in a tasty way. Because to be honest with you, I have a lot of vegetables back there. I can't do it without the ranch. I can't do it without the ranch. I need a dab of ranch on that thing. I need a dab of ranch on that thing, man. So I'm hoping he can help me, you know, get skinny like Dr. Hodge.
Well, I told you about chronic smokers.
And I want people to understand that you don't have to be afraid. That's why he's here. That's why he's risking his life and degree and everything. He's risking his place in society to offer this to you. It's legal in Atlanta, in that one place. Right here in Stone Mountain, it's still not. These are the facts.
Yeah, decriminalized.
It's not decriminalized. here. And he's willing to come here, he just said everybody who's here, he's willing to give free analysis, I guess at your place.
Yeah.
At your place. Just talk to him to get a card to save your life. And if that happens to one person here, I know that Kingdom City Church has done their job. And we don't care what religion you are. My invitation, the church's invitation is always open, but it's important to us to have someone of his credentials talking with a cross behind him, because nobody knows that this is also what we're about. This is also what we're supposed to be about. Not about judging, about helping. And if we could help you in any way, you let us know. Right back there, there's just a paper and a pen with some lines on it. You put your name, your email, your phone number, and any way that we can help you. Don't hesitate to write that on there too. We're not going to hound you. We don't, like I said, this isn't a religious studies program. This is just me speaking from the heart as a Christian, opening these doors to the community, because that's what this church is about. That's what I'm about. And I want all of you to know that. I also wanted to say one thing. We were supposed to have Dr. Little, the chiropractor, with us today. He couldn't make it. The nutritionist also couldn't make it. So this is only our second one. Things like this are going to happen. I promise you, next month, we will have Dr. Little, the chiropractor. We will have a nutritionist here and a few other people. I have, let me get it right, announcement for minorities for medical marijuana. Tuesday, 7 o'clock p.m., that's this Tuesday, at Mango's Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, Atlanta, Georgia. If you guys want to write that down, minorities for medical marijuana is having a meeting at 7 o'clock at Mango's Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue in Atlanta. Go check that out, people. Whatever you can do, the activism, you're saving our own lives, we're saving our brothers' lives, we're saving people's lives. And it's not black or white. I mean brother, I mean human. This affects us. Another thing, I just gotta say this because this is what matters. People are not only dying, fathers are being locked up, we're being put in jail, we're losing our communities, we're losing our father figures, we're losing the head of the household, as the Bible puts it. We've gotta do something. We're called to do something. We're called to say something.
Thank you.
We're called to say something.
Thank you.
Because if we see someone else suffering, it's only a matter of time before it's us. And so we might not have had to deal with this problem or that problem. We might not know a family who's been destroyed by the drug wars. We may not know someone who's had to grow up without a dad because their dad was locked up for the same thing that are now making millions of dollars in California without any problem. That's a law that we have to fight. That's a law we're called to fight. That's a law that I will use my last breath in defending. We have two other people here. Since people, what do you call it? Backed out last minute by accident. It's not no fault of anybody's, but since they're not here, we have a little extra time, maybe 15 minutes or so. Would you guys like to say something?
Yeah, I'll get up there and say
Yeah.
something. Yeah, sure.
Try not to curse at
Oh,
all.
I won't curse. My name is Chunga Mwando. I'm a videographer. But just to piggyback off what Doc was saying about just some of the benefits of what medicinal cannabis does.
In your personal testimony.
Yeah, let's see. Earlier last year, I suffered from just some heart problems and things like that. Just kind of caught me off guard. But, I got on the meds, all that kind of stuff. Developed some type of just addiction towards it and all that. So I got to Doc and all that. And so he just, explained to me about just doing some microdosing and all that kind of stuff like that when it comes down to medicinal cannabis and all that. And here I stand. I lost 35 pounds.
I see you.
I see you, all that kind of stuff. They had to cut me in the groin to check for arteries and all that kind of stuff. But when I started using medicinal cannabis, man, stress, blood pressure level out, able to work out, all that kind of stuff like that, you know, and so it just brought some peace to my family, you know, so my family, my wife was, not all the way with it, but, you know, as she saw me getting better and things like that, she couldn't argue with it. She couldn't argue with the results, you know what I mean? And all that, and so what I decided to do from that day forward was, like, you know, I just started creating t-shirts, you know, that promote medicinal cannabis use, you know what I mean, and all that, not trying to just advertise up here and all that, but just truthfully, to be a advocate about medicinal cannabis, you know? So that's it. So it works.
How they find
Thank
you?
you.
How they
How you
find you?
find me? www.silverbacknation420.com. Silverbacknation420.com. You know? That's it.
Awesome. Hands up. Hands up.
Got someone else for 20 apparatus.
Put him on my story too.
420 apparatus.
Show my love to everybody, bro.
How you guys doing?
Everybody.
My name is Abtrax. I have a company called 420 Apparatus. I initially started my company chasing the marijuana party side, okay? I just want to be clear. That's how it started. And recreational side. And what ended up happening is I started doing some research. My mom's ride, she's an avid bike rider from New York. She broke her wrist, shoulder, and hit her head on the ground. She had like 20-some stitches. And I don't know if how y'all feel about your mom, but as soon as that happened to my mom's, and it happened on Father's Day, I took my flight to New York. She had to get 20-some stitches in her hand, her wrist, and the first thing they gave her was some Percocets, right? She did not like the dope fiend feel because New York, we grew up around heroin and dope fiend, and we seen how it affects the people, and we see how pills affect people. So I introduced her to edibles, which wasn't the proper thing to do, because she didn't understand like how it comes on, and like either it's gonna take you to the extreme if you don't have the right dosage, or it's not. So I had to back her up off the edibles, and I introduced her to CBD. Now, what's been happening with the CBD is she has no pain, she has no issues, she can function, she can move her wrist a little bit. And then she went to the therapist moving her shoulder, she's not having the pain. Wow. So she's like, oh, I don't think these little CBDs is working. So she stopped taking CBDs. The next day she's like, take me back to the doctor. Take me back to the store. Give me some more of them CBD pills. So, with it saying all of that, it actually works. It actually helps people. And that's one of the things that is here. I changed my whole idea and direction of the marijuana cannabis to CBD. And the reason why is like, okay, you go to an old folks home. There's 60 people in there, everybody grandmother in there, they're giving everybody drugs, right? They don't need them. The pharmacies getting rich, the sales agents who's selling the drugs. It's modern day drug dealing. That's exactly what it is. Right. It's modern day drug dealing that, sorry to say this, but the white people are getting stupid rich from, and it doesn't make any sense. And they know it's killing us. When they first introduced Delorders and Percocets and Oxycontins and all of that, they walking zombies. That's what's going on, walking zombies. But this right here, like the marijuana thing, right? And I don't mean to just put it like that, but the marijuana thing, it's like this. Yeah, all our life, our cousins or somebody we know that smoked, they get high, but we didn't really understand the benefits of how this thing does. And see me, I have stress. I'm one of those kids that, I was in class, I wasn't bouncing. I got good grades. I was bouncing all over the place, but until I started hanging out with my friends, and I said, before I start doing stupid stuff, let me smoke. Smoke calms me down. It relaxes my nerves. It has me thinking more than anything. It makes you think about certain things.
Great testimony, man.
420 Apparatus, they deleted my original page. If you go on there, I don't put nothing up but informational news. Whether from wherever it's at, whether it's a politician or something positive about the industry. Yes, they are making money. They're making gazillions and gazillions of dollars. Yes, there's a door that we can all walk in. You can find your space in the green space. Me and Dr. Hodges never got a chance to meet, but we with Graham, and I have Oski that I had met. You won't even believe. I met Oski driving Uber one day, and me and him hooked up, and then he realized who I am and what I do. Then he came to one of my parties. I had a party called Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving. And I have also events that goes on, but I'm gonna turn it from just party to educational party, because there's a big gap. Nobody wouldn't even believe it, I am 42 years old. Good. Right? I'm 42, but my son, who is 17, friends is participating in marijuana these days. So me as a dad, I gotta relook a bunch of things on how it's portrayed, how it's looked upon, how the use is, and it's like we gotta educate each other. I'll come from each one, teach one. Shout out to C back there. Me and C, I met C in a podcast, and he actually brought me education on the CBD, and we started talking and we started kicking it, and that's how you find out things, from talking and networking with people. And like I said, I'm an open book. You can always hit me on Instagram. My name is ABTR8XX Abtracts. That's my DJ name. That's my pseudonym. My company is 420 Apparatus. And
Apparatus.
420 apparatus. Thank you. And I'm going into the t-shirt business because you have to find your way and you have to find your lane. So I think y'all, I salute anything that goes on. I'm a part of anything that goes on. We have a very small circle of people, and we got to keep our little circle kind of tight knit. I went to Nicole B's meeting last month, right? There was a gentleman in there, right? He was white. So I come from the street, so I got to vet who I'm talking to. I go back, I look in this thing, and it says Trump supporter. And I'm like, hold up. I was just talking to this dude. Is he infiltrating what we got going on? It's more to it. So we have to be open-minded, but as well as proactive, because we never know. Yes, we're flying in a gray area. It's very, very gray. But we have to understand the dynamics of what we're doing and the potential. Because when did Colorado pass? Because back maybe about 4 years or 5 years ago, they had these two couples they were doing a documentary on how they started. It was the first dispensary as there. The same things is going to happen here. So you just got to position yourself in the world. Whether you're a cooker, you're a baker, you're a t-shirt maker, you're an accountant, you're a lawyer, there's jobs for everybody. You just got to find your niche and find where you want to be at. And see me, my 420 apparatus, I want to help elder people. Let me go in there and rub grandma's leg, no, with some CBD oil and to help her with her ailments, because the drugs is killing us, and they're not even going to tell us they're killing us. They just sell it because for them it's only their bottom line. For us, it's our community. So that's my 2 cents. I just want to put it on. Thank you.
Can I add something real quick? I'm not a talker, real quick, y'all, but my grandfather, he is 97 years old, and he uses the product. Like Doc was saying, it's not just smoking. There's transdermals, there's capsules, there's pills. I mean, it helps him.
You have to understand it all.
You have to understand it all, you know what I mean? So he's 97, and I got the most, on the flip side, I got the most church-goingest mother in the world. She is now using the products for her joint pain and things like that. Rubbing the topicals on and things like that. No pain. She calls me every day telling me how much she can't believe it, she can't believe it, she can't believe it, because there's no pain in those areas that are inflamed. So it works. And I'm like, I don't care what nobody says. It works. It works.
Awesome. That's the facts. That's like I said, my daughter.
I seen her pass right out outside.
She passed out in front of the medical facility ran by Dr. Hodge. I almost cried. I had to act like I was strong. Back in the car, she was like, "Dad, why are you holding me so tight?" Because I thought she was gonna die. That's why. It saves lives, people. It saves lives.
Question: she hasn't had a syncopal episode since she started the CBD.
She said she had a mild episode maybe 2 days later, but I have a feeling it's because she was too scared to take the pills. She's still under the mindset that even though we tell her and the doctor tells her, she still was like, wait a minute, this is weed, this is marijuana. And as she started to take one a day, and it just started not happening anymore.
Wow.
No more problems. She was having it for months, for 4 months, and the doctors didn't know what it was, how to treat it. And I knew the last time that they took her back to the doctor, they were going to end up testing her on stuff. They were going to say, well, we don't know what it is, but try this. Not sure what it is, but you know what? Try this one. And before you know it, she's going to be hooked on something and have a problem that she didn't have. So I said, you know what? Let's go to Dr. Hodge. You know, she's 18. You can make your own decision now about your health. And all of us in here are adults. And if you think that your child needs it, give it to them. Talk to Dr. Hodge. Learn the science. It's not the boogeyman. It's not. More importantly, this is a health seminar. This was mainly focused on cannabis today, but we have more people coming. Like I said, there's nutrition. There's all types of things that this community needs. And yes, business and economic prosperity is one of the things that this community needs. So I don't mind you talking about that up here. No, that's what this is about. We're helping in any way we can. In every way we can, we help. Community outreach, best way to say it. Once again, thanks to Oski Wolski, Team Box Cutter.
Get up.
Yes.
Say something right quick before we leave.
Real quick.
Just hip doc.
Hip doc.
I know him. You can push them on, man. His page grew. I've been following you, big bro.
Oh!
King, sir.
Thanks, bro. Yeah, solid.
How y'all doing this evening? My name is KB. Right quick, I'm still getting my knowledge up. You know, I've been, in the plant world for a while. Just not really started to get my education up. You know, been around the plant since probably about 13. I had anxiety for a long time and still do from time to time, which is why I feel the need to have the flowers in my life. But what I want to say is that like I said, I'm what I consider a dot connector. Like I said, I've been in contact with Dr. Hodge for probably since last year. This is our first time actually meeting face to face. Shout out to him. And I think in regard, that's why I asked, when I asked the question to Dr. Hodge about talking to the officials, it's amazing how the government is about marijuana, considering there's been no deaths as a result. You know what I mean? I know people drink, not judging. I take a sip from time to time, you know what I mean? But it's amazing how you look down on it. And it's never really hurt anyone. You know what I'm saying? Understand the car crash that happened because of alcohol. I had an opioid addiction at one point in my life that I just admitted to probably a couple of years ago. I just didn't realize it. Just right quick, I got into an accident in 2004 while I was run over by a truck walking down the street. Down in Buckhead, back when it was the stripper clubs where the shops are now on P Street. It used to just be all clubs. And that's where we used to hang every weekend. And so leaving one night, drunk driver jumped the curb and hit me in my back. And so as a result, shattered my femur, fractured vertebrae in my back, split my face open. For when I landed on my face, and you know, of course, when you're in the hospital in pain, morphine pump first thing. When I got back home, I had the perks, I had the oxycontins, when they were giving them a little bit more freely. You know what I'm saying? And you know, you're supposed to take max like 2 a day. I was taking 4, and that got used to getting high to the point where you're talking about dependence. And I was like, it felt like I had to be on it, you know what I'm saying? Until one of my partners finally took him away from me. And I was like, man, you don't have a little pain. He was like, nah, you done. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, there's many ways to take it, as everyone said. I actually work with a company called Uncle Dudes. We have a lemonade, THC lemonade.
Shout out to Yo.
Yeah, shout out to Yo. The edibles, of course, and the oils, and these people even doing meals at this point. You want you a chicken fettuccine, you're gonna have some of that oil or that butter in there. You feel what I'm saying? You want to take it that way. Yeah. So, like I said, man, I can touch a little bit of this and a little bit of that, but I appreciate you all having me. I got cars too. You need to holler at me.
I didn't know that.
Okay, so I think this is concluded here. Everybody's got a chance to talk. I have to say on behalf of the church, thank you guys for coming out. Thank you for having an open mind. And on behalf of myself, you're invited to come here tomorrow, 11:30, and worship with people who won't judge you, won't look down on you because you have chosen to medicate the way that you choose to medicate. And we're gonna leave here with a prayer. Of course, there are people who aren't Christian or who don't want to do that, and you got a couple of minutes. You can leave, or you can just close your eyes and bow your head if you want to. It's all up to you. Okay? Dear Lord, thank you for this day. Thank you for the doctor. Thank you for this medicine. Thank you for your Son who has taught us how to love. And we only pray, we leave out of here and pray that we show his love in everything that we do and every time these doors open. I pray personally for everyone in here that is dealing with an affliction of any kind, that they will be healed and that they will not be scared to heal themselves with the medicine that you yourself have provided. I also thank you for being who you are, that no matter if we held the doors open or not, you are still in charge, and we always remember that. We remember that on our way home as you give us safe travels, and thank you yet again. Amen. Everybody can talk, mingle. We got some vegetables back here if there's any left. I need that damn ranch. I need that dab of ranch. I know, actually, you know what? I knew you would. Just a dab. That's your favorite.